As an 8th grader at Monomoy, you have the choice to pick whether you would like to continue with regular schooling or move to a tech school. My name's Sophia Sarabia, and as a young 8th grader, I wasn't aware of the opportunities that tech schools provided and wasn't given the information that would have helped me. This made me realize, is Monomoy doing enough to educate the younger children about the opportunities of vocational education? First, I visited Miss Hall in guidance and talked about what she does as a guidance counselor to get the 8th graders involved.
I'm Caitlin Hall, and I'm the grade 8 counselor.
Okay. Do you see students that express interest in changing schooling and pursuing a trade school?
Definitely. There, I think, is a growing number of applicants every year. I think it gets even more competitive every year because people see the opportunities of trade schools. And so I would say we have somewhere around 50 to 60 8th graders apply every year.
What does Monomoy do to help these students that want to choose a tech school?
So we talk about the options. It actually even starts in the middle school where they start to learn about the tech. The tech runs its own kind of marketing of like open house nights and student nights, parent nights. And then when they get here, I talk to any of the interested students about the application process. We have a field trip over in the winter to see the school in action during the day. And then I help them navigate the interview process, and we actually have a lot of interviews in this office.
Do you see students that could really thrive in tech schools but don't have the requirements or the grades?
Yeah, definitely. I think the typical classroom isn't necessarily the best way that everybody learns, and often those students are really successful in a tech school environment and not so much in the standard classroom that we have here. So you can see the impact on their grades, and grades, attendance, and conduct are a really big factor in admissions over there from 7th and 8th grade. So you want to see growth from 7th to 8th, and if you see that, that can definitely help, but it does impact kids, if they're not successful here.
What does a student need to accomplish or complete in order to pursue their desire of going to Upper Cape Tech or Lower Cape Tech?
Sure, so they apply, and that is just a really simple online application. And then there's a counselor recommendation that I complete. They do an interview. It's about 5 to 10 minutes. It's pretty informal but very important. And then we submit as a school all of their grades, their attendance, their conduct, and that is run through the tech's system, point system, and they earn different rankings based on all of that information.
Are counselors, administrators, or teachers giving to the students about the opportunities of the tech school?
I try really hard to have conversations, even if it's just a kid that's dropped by for a not school-related reason. I like early in the year to get to know what their goals are because it is so important to act really early on. And then I go into classrooms. I'm doing it starting next week, and that's one of the things that I talk about because you want to make sure that they have all of the information. And then parents are provided that information. I have newsletters. We have the Friday Focus, and so they get info that way too.
And then, do you think Monomoy could make any changes to the information that is given to the 8th graders about tech school?
I actually really think it would be helpful maybe for me to be a little bit more active in the 7th grade part of things, because by the time they get here, they've already hit like half of the information that we send over. So acting early at the start of 7th grade to say, like, if you're interested at all, even just like a little piece of your brain is thinking about it, that these are the things that are really important starting now, and so we're not playing catch up by the time they hit 8th grade.
And then do you recommend a tech school to somebody who is looking like they want to go into one of those trades?
Yes, definitely. I think it prepares you really well. I think that there's a lot of hands-on experience. I think it's a really great format for learning. I think that the ability to get out on job sites is really great. You can get paid, so it's another, real big incentive. So yes, I do recommend it, and I actually recommend to any student who's even on the fence about it to apply because it is so competitive to have that shot and keep all the doors open for yourself in 8th grade because it is so much harder if you hit 9th, just in terms of getting into where you want to be.
I then headed over to the nearest vocational high school, Cape Cod Tech in Harwich, and interviewed Nick Fury, the admissions coordinator.
My name is Kevin Fury, and I'm the admissions coordinator here for Cape Cod Tech.
Do you see an increase in students interested in applying to this school or just tech schools in general?
I can't really speak to the other tech schools so much. For this school, absolutely, there's been an increase. I think since 2019, 2020, there's been a consistent upswing in people applying or having general interest in our school? I think it's a few reasons. One, we have this brand new beautiful building that certainly helps attract new students for a variety of reasons. New is great. But I also think, I think the pandemic might have been part of the reason why, reevaluating career paths for students or families in general. There's always a need for the trades, and that didn't go anywhere during the pandemic, and I think that made people start to think about cost effectiveness for their future, and colleges are not getting any cheaper, and this is another path for students to have success right out of high school.
What does a student need to have to be able to get into a tech school like this?
Sure. So the application process for us is pretty simple. First off, you have to apply, and that's done online at our school website. Once they apply, we look at 3 different things. We look at their grade 7 and grade 8 grades, attendance, and discipline. We also do a student interview with them, which is usually done here at the school with me. It's just a few questions about their interest and why they want to be here. And then we also get a counselor recommendation or director, depending on the school. They fill out a few questions on a point scale, and they rate the student on those areas. And then once that's done, we compile the scores, rank them from top to bottom, and if there's enough room while we get to that number, then we accept it.
Do you, as a counselor, do anything to get these students interested in applying to schools or just tech schools?
Yeah, recruitment's a big piece. A lot of it you need help from their sending schools, which luckily we do have for the most part. Every year we get the mailing labels for every 7th and 8th grader in our district, which is from Mashpee to Provincetown. And we send out information regarding our open houses, which we have coming up very soon, which is always a big event, and 7th and 8th graders are both welcome to attend for that night. And then we also do, for the 8th graders, we do student tours throughout the year. Usually starts in sometime in November and goes all the way till our application deadline, which is February 15th. So we want to give every 8th grader who has an interest the option to come here for the day and see a day in the life at Cape Cod Tech, and try to keep them informed as much as possible. And we do that digitally as well as direct mail.
Do you think other schools are doing enough to get the information out about this school?
From our districts, I do for a lot of it. I've had some good responses from the 8th grade schools. A few of the schools, 8th grade is at the high school now, in particularly Monomoy, Barnstable, and Dennis Yarmouth. The middle schools, although, have been really helpful as well. I think one area where we can improve is getting more involved with the 7th grade students at their schools, at the middle schools. Sometimes there's a gap between not knowing that their 7th grade year counts towards the admission. So we're looking to improve in those areas as much as we can to keep them informed.
How many students are accepted each year, and then how many would you usually turn away?
Sure. So our cap for the freshman class every year is around that 182, 183 slots available for the freshman class. This past year we had a little over 360 applications that were completed. So that means that we got all the information needed and they did the student interview. That's our completed application. So when you look at those numbers off the get-go, it looks like, wow, it's like 50%. But at the end of the day, by the end of the summer, it gets closer to about a 70% acceptance rate, because a lot of students do change their mind for a variety of reasons, whether they're moving away or just realize it's not the right fit. Those things come up all the time, so we do get those students off the wait list to have a chance to be ready to go.
Do the kids that you turn away have alternate options, or do they just get to reapply?
Sure. So in terms of alternate options, they don't have to reapply to our school. They stay on our wait list for the entirety of their 9th grade year. And if openings come up throughout the year, which a lot of times it does here and there, that we would go off the wait list based on their score, and we would call them and say, listen, a spot's open up. You have an opportunity to still attend. Is that something you want to pursue? And then just keep going down the list until those slots get filled. In terms of other options, the only options would be to continue with their sending school, whichever one that might be, or looking to go to school choice to a different district, but that would be a parent's decision. That's not something we really would provide.
Do you think Monomoy in particular are doing the right things to get kids interested, or have you seen Monomoy's increase in students coming here rather than other schools?
Yeah, so in terms of Monomoy, I think they've done a great job. I have a good working relationship with Ms. Hall. She's been really supportive in students and their interest to attend the school. They're always working hard to try to get students to come for the student tour day, and that's usually a great turnout. So I'd say in the past it's a really good amount of 8th grade applications that come through, and they do a good job presenting our school and the options that are available to them. So I think it's been a great working relationship for the past few years.
Lastly, I interviewed William Terranova, the principal over at Cape Cod Tech, and got his perspective on whether or not younger children are getting the information needed about tech schools.
My name is William Terranova. Kids call me Mr. T, and I am the principal at Cape Cod Regional Technical High School.
Do you, as a principal, see an uprising in students wanting to apply from all of your...
Yeah, I think the new building has really brought more attention to Cape Cod Regional Technical High School, and students have found new interests in what we offer. I think the hands-on learning, as they had new interests, the hands-on learning has become attractive to them.
What are some of the benefits of applying and coming to a tech school like this one rather than staying in a traditional high school?
Absolutely. So there are a lot of benefits to applying to Cape Cod Tech. I suggest to every student they should apply to Cape Cod Tech, even if they're not sure, because it's their technical high school. We are the other high school for all of our sending districts. We're not a school choice. They have the choice to go to college. They have the choice to gain a career right out of high school. They have the opportunity to have that hands-on learning inside a school in a supportive, collaborative environment.
So do you see like an increase in students wanting to come to the school?
Absolutely. So our applications have been increasing every year, and they are far greater than they have been in years past. But it's not only the applications, because after we accept students, we are getting a lot of students who typically may not have said yes previously are saying yes to coming to Cape Cod Tech and choosing Cape Cod Tech as their high school.
What is Tech doing anything to get students more interested from as an 8th grader or 7th grader?
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually we try to do some things to entice, not necessarily entice, but inform students about the opportunities at Cape Cod Tech. We've been doing Tech Night, which is going to be November 2nd, 2023. We do that every year. We've been doing that for the 19 years I've been working here, and many, many years before that. And so that's a one-night event where prospective 7th and 8th graders and their families can come and tour the school, find out all about the program. We also send postcards to students and letters to students to inform them of what the opportunities lie here at Cape Cod Regional Technical High School.
Do you see more kids from Monomoy districts coming in, or from a certain school that's coming in, so you think, that they're doing a better job?
That's a great question. So this is specific to Monomoy. I think Monomoy does a good job. They're our third largest sending school district in regards to percent as well as just straight numbers. And so that in mind, I think they do a very good job. They've been very supportive in the last 15 years that I've been working here as the principal. So I think, which is fantastic. We're good neighbors, so to speak. I think sometimes it's a little bit more of a struggle for our students who attend 8 through 12 high schools, and that's just a pure statistic fact, to gain acceptance. The students who are enrolled in 8th through 12th grade high schools have a lower acceptance percentage than those that are in traditional middle schools. And I think because the expectations and the rigor is higher in those 8th grade high school students' classes. And so, there's still a lot of nurturing, but there is still an expectation, and it's a high school expectation, which some 8th graders are not ready to meet. And so that's a struggle. And so we just encourage those students that they have to keep working just because they're at the high school, as an 8th grader. They have to meet those expectations. And the best one to meet is the attendance. If they're in school as much as they can, with a great attendance rate, they're going to be there to learn. and they're not going to miss out on the information. So we encourage that.